Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at jonnydelsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Happy Friday. It is a very Deebo-ous Friday, not dubious. And I want to point out, Dr. J II says, you're now famous in Germany, Johnny. I wonder if Dr. J knows my parents are in Germany right now, visiting very good friends of ours who are Niner fans. So I wonder if Dr.
Not
J
to be confused with no fans being Niner fans.
Oh no! Oh, that's something different.
Nine.
Oh yeah, Hail Hydra.
What?
This is the weirdest
dude.
Start to the show
That's terrible.
But come on, you didn't watch those movies and think to yourself, that kind of sounds like Nazi when they were like Hail Hydra. Come on, everyone thought that. It wasn't just me. Well, I know. I'm just saying that you didn't think Nazi. You absolutely thought Nazi when they were saying Hail Hydra. It crossed your mind. That's what I'm saying.
They were Nazis.
Well, I don't know. They were German. I don't know if they were technically Nazis.
Yes, it was during World War II.
Yeah, but they could have been a radical group. They didn't go into that story of they were exactly Nazis. It was Hydra. It was different.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
All right, let's get back to it. Quiffleball says Deebo looks trim. He's got receipts on his YouTube, and we're going to get into if we think if Deebo is still Deebo. So, did you have fun going through the film?
I did. I will say there's a couple things that jump out when you watch the film, outside of even just with Deebo, is that one, Brock Purdy doesn't get a lot of the respect he should get, considering, there's plays that Brock makes look routine that he hits 9 times out of 10 that Jaden Daniels just was not hitting. And I will say Jaden Daniels is much more physically talented. As far as, he can make all the throws, a lot of the throws still off platform. Like he can still throw the ball 45 yards down the field without his hips turned. He's a little bit better runner, but as far as operating the offense in those plays, Brock was much farther ahead in his year one than Jaden Daniels was even last year. People say it was just the injuries. There was a lot of plays that were there that just simply the same concepts we run. And, you look at it and go, oh, Brock's letting that rip right here. And he's getting a 15-yard gain. This was a quarterback scramble for 2 yards. So there's that. Also, Cliff Kingsbury is no Kyle Shanahan. People will talk about Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive guru, and you can see why there tends to be a cliff, meaning that he starts out really hot, goes well for the majority of the year, and then there's a drop off. And a lot of it is because of what we had talked about with Kyle Shanahan, is that there's a difference when you wrap everything in a cohesive package and everything ties together, that there's very few things done in a vacuum. And that is partially what led to Deebo Samuel's numbers this year. When you look at the offense and how it was run and a lot of Deebo's touches, there's a lot of manufactured touches for Deebo, but there's not a lot of tying it to the rest of the offense. So, and it's just, yeah, it's a harder offense to say, okay, was this just the player not doing as well, or was it, a drop off from one system to the other? And Dr. J, yes, we know not everybody in the 1930s and 40s was a Nazi. Most people forget that Hitler was never actually elected into his position. It was a show election after he had seized the levers of power. And at any one time, I think the Nazis ever only polled at about 45% in Germany. So, yeah.
Don't get Johnny going, okay?
I'm actually reading right now. I'm audiobooking through Victor
Mein
Davis
Kampf.
Hanson's.
Your Mein Kampf. Oh.
No. That was I read Mein Kampf years
Joking.
ago.
I'm joking.
But no, I'm reading through the Second World Wars, is Victor Davis Hanson's book. It's on audiobook. I got it through Spotify, so I'm listening through that right now. I've read John Keegan's Second World War II. Is the Ian Toll's Pacific Crucible. It's a really good book on the Pacific War in 1941 and 1942.
Johnny's a history buff.
The Tank War. It's the memoirs of the 5th Tank Brigade out of Britain during that time. So, yeah.
So we are going to get into some film on Deebo. Before we do, I want to point out I'm wearing my Clark t-shirt, and I was in a business meeting with my bag the other day with a Niner fan, Johnny, and I said, "Hey, look at this." And he goes, hold on. He goes, "Dude, that's the catch." Like right away he nailed it, and I'm like, "Yeah, man." Like he's like, "Dude, that is so cool." So I love showing the gear off. So very cool. Remember to click the link in the description in the link here, and we'll talk about it more a little bit after. But let us get into the film. And Johnny, I want to ask you, what is something that you want us to know going into this film session that either caught your eye or that you learned, or just give us one little tidbit before we get started?
Well, I think a lot of it was kind of what I said about the offenses were not the same. The thing,
So it's apples to
Deebo's,
oranges kind of thing.
well, somewhat.
A little bit.
It's just like you'll see some of the same stuff that we did with him. It just wasn't as as a cohesive package. It felt like there was a lot of plays in a vacuum. And so, and that's what I mean by the cliff is, as time goes along, people start to pick up on that, and they start picking up on smaller packages of plays, that there isn't they do everything out of this personnel group. They do everything out of this formation. Just his play packages were smaller and smaller, and that gets picked up on by the end of the year. So there's bigger keys, and that's why his offense tends to peter out near the end of the season. And so there's that. The other part is, I think Deebo is probably about 10 pounds heavier here than he is now. When you see the pictures of him now, he looks a lot slimmer. When on the film, you could see he would look like he was tipping the scales at 220, 225. He looks now like he's closer to 215. And I think maybe even 210. And I think that's going to bring a level of burst. One thing that I think he started to look at after the last 2 years was this wide back thing. I don't really want to do that. That's not where, like, that trying to train specifically to be in that role. So adding on more mass was hurting his performance as a receiver. There's just a couple plays in there that you go, I wonder if he was 10 pounds lighter, does he score a touchdown here instead of get tackled around the hips? Like, I just wonder. Now, you're gonna still see a lot of the things he's still in as far as frustrating Deebo. we're not going to see this like grand improvement on some of the deficiencies that we've been frustrated with over the years. So yeah, I've broken down this film into 3 categories. There's one, Deebo can still run. There's frustrating Deebo, and then there's catch and run Deebo. It's kind of the 3 faces of Deebo here.
All right, so let's get to the first one.
All right, so this is Deebo can still run. So one thing that we run a lot, and we know we run a lot, and we've talked about it, is these high crossers. This is what Deebo was really known for as part of the Yak Bros, right? Getting these high crossers, catch it, and then have this explosive gain. Dude can still get out and run. This is week 1 against the Giants. You see, if he can get a step out here, nobody's running with him across the field. I mean, dude still got that speed, a little bit better throw, and this is probably a big explosive. His yards per reception or per target and reception were some of the lowest that he had in his entire career. Here's the challenge: is if this is a better throw, you got a touchdown most likely with Deebo. He's going to catch this on the run and go up the sideline. The safety is turned the opposite direction. So you make this throw. Jaden Daniels has a gorgeous pocket here. This is a touchdown. He's got 3 or 4 steps on his guy. You get that out there, he's going to turn that corner and go. Ball's a little bit high, a little bit behind, and Deebo knew it too. He's like, yeah, gummit. So, Deebo can still get out there if he's got this separation. There's not really just straight line speed, anybody making that up on him. So he can still get out there and run. Here's one, a little bit better throw on it. Same route, the same throw, same defender he's going against. Once he gets this edge on here, boom, he's out there. Dude can still run those high crossers with a lot of urgency. Here, this is where you have to manage Deebo, and they did a good job. You're going to start from a bunch. Notice he's off the line. You're going to motion him out. That's going to put you on a corner in off coverage, and then you run that Dover, that deep in. And when you can do that, you manufacture a release for him. You let him get space in this. He can turn a run, and it's not a great route. The guy's able to break on it, but he's got that speed. He can still get moving down the field, can still climb the ladder to go make those catches, which is what we love from Deebo.
Didn't look like a amazing throw either.
It wasn't bad. That's not a bad throw at all. It's actually a pretty good throw considering that you got 58 right there in the throwing lane.
That's true. Just the way Deebo had to move for it.
So he's he's trying to make this throw over that underneath guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fault anybody on that throw. That's a plenty good throw. Here, same thing. You're gonna see him. He's off the line because you got a tight end over here. So he's got a little bit more. They actually got 2 tight ends over here. So he's not having to play. You bring him in motion. You keep them. Where'd my mouse go? My mouse just disappeared. All right.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it like totally disappeared. That you bring him in a low motion. You keep this cushion, right? He's not in full press bump. So you're able to keep a little bit of the cushion, and he's going to run this Dover. Same thing, creates a separation. Now, this is the bugaboo at Deebo. He's not a hands catcher. So, that's one thing about Deebo. If that ball is not up around his face mask, if it's chest plate or lower, he's a body catcher. So you'll see him a lot of times when he runs like an now route or a quick slant. A lot of times you'll see him run out here and his hands are up. He turns and his hands are up and out. Like, that's a body catcher. He's looking to pin that against his body. He's not a hands catcher. So that those hands out in front of you, the ball has to be at his face mask or higher for him to be a hands catcher. If you actually think back to some of his biggest explosive catches that he's ever had with the 49ers, the balls are at his face mask or higher because he reaches out there and he plucks it, and then he can turn and run. Mm-hmm. Everything else, it's a little bit slower. There's a step in there
down. Yeah.
Because he's grabbing it into his body and then he's going. So that's been a bugaboo with Deebo for a long time. And when you have a guy that, if you're going into space and contact where you're a body catcher, it's prone to having balls like this get bounced up in the air, which becomes extremely dangerous because either contact happens and it dislodges it and goes up in the air, or like that, you don't secure the catch because you're focused on the catch and run and it bounces up in the air. We've seen that with Deebo a number of times over the years. I don't know how many times, especially with like Jimmy G, we would see he would fire that quick slant over to Deebo and the bang, bang, the ball's bouncing up in the air and it's like, and you're holding your breath for 5 minutes as you're waiting for that ball to come back down to earth. Those are plays that kill you in a game, absolutely kill you. So that's something that we do still have with Mr. Deebo. All right. So here he is, the top. You're going to see similar thing. He can run this crosser. I mean, he gets out here and runs. Another thing, if that ball's out in front of him, he may score a touchdown. And he's got an angle on this corner that's peeling off. Man, he can run those high crossers. And here's what we have to remember with Deebo is that Deebo, we're not looking for him necessarily be 2021 Deebo. We're looking him to do a better job at that at those than Kendrick Bourne.
For sure.
Like we have to put things in perspective. Last year, when Ricky Pearsall was out, we had Kendrick Bourne running those routes from Z. We had Juwan Jennings running those. Okay. Can Deebo bring more juice to those routes than either of those two guys? Because I know that the fan base is very split on having Deebo back or not. That's the question we have to ask. When we're comparing it to 2025, Adam, I think your mic has a little bugaboo on it.
Check.
There you go. Yep, there you go. Now you're back. I heard the little static click, and then I saw your lips moving. I'm okay. But that he can do that better than Kendrick Bourne, better than Juwan Jennings, bring more juice. And if you can do that, we're already ahead. The bigger thing, and we'll get to this in the next clip, is it makes your margin of error with Mike Evans being healthy smaller. Okay, so Deebo, there he is, top. So here they're gonna bring this guy motion in. They're gonna run a read rail, so that's a read route. Talked about that with Kyle Juszczyk, and then a rail route on the outside. I mean, just look at the speed and the explosion here to go. I mean, boom, he's gone. He's got his guy out of phase in a panic, draws the PI, throws out in front of him. Even it could be a touchdown. So we're looking at big time speed there. Here, this is in the red zone. What you miss with Deebo is that you have these crossers going across the field where, you get the release on there and then run across the field. Nobody's running with him. So those are the red zone plays, get out there with urgency that we just didn't see last year. Here they're going to bring him in motion, run him down the seam. You can still see the ability to get vertical quickly in a hurry. I mean, this ball should be out right through here, and it should be hit right there. This ball's a little bit late. And again, it's another one that could be a touchdown. You hit Deebo through here, he's probably getting a touchdown. Ball's late, a little bit behind him, a lot behind him, picked off. So another example, though, that Deebo can get vertical. And some of the drop-in numbers we see was not all on Deebo. That's I guess, one of the points I wanted to make through these is that he can still run. He can still get open on these. His explosive rate wasn't always on him. That we've seen in the past him do these same routes, have these same throws, but when they're in stride, when they're hitting him in there, people, again, all these throws we're seeing are Jaden Daniels. And I think Jaden Daniels is a very, very good quarterback in the NFL. But people have not appreciated when Brock Purdy hits Deebo or Brandon Ayuk or Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall in stride on these throws. They don't appreciate how accurate that really is when you look at it with a guy that everybody in his rookie year was putting into the elite category. I'm looking at these and I'm going, Deebo could have had 200 more yards on the year. with some better throws. So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
There it is. But and Leo says, did Deebo and Daniels not have chemistry? Balls seem off. I don't know if it was a chemistry thing. I think it was there may have been a timing thing, but I think is just one thing that you started to see with Jaden Daniels throughout the year was that the footwork was just not as tight as it needed to be. And so there was a little bit loosey-goosey in the accuracy. Where his accuracy in his rookie year looked a lot better was that he could throw some of those third level throws, those tier 3 deep throws. And sometimes those are throw it out and let your receiver go run underneath it. And on the broadcast, it looks like, man, this is a pinpoint throw 50 yards down the field, when sometimes it was your receiver is adjusting to it and it looks really good. When it's those second tier throws, Brock Purdy is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league at those second tier throws. And so that's where I say those second tier intermediate throws are probably a little more explosive. And that's where Deebo's like forte has always been, is that tier 2 intermediate area throws where he can catch and run with the ball in his hands. Now, we do have frustrating Deebo, which is the Deebo of how do you play when you're on the line? So this is against the Seahawks. He's playing the X receiver here. Okay. So this is away from the tight end. He's on the line against a press bump coverage. And this is something that Deebo has always struggled getting separation against, is he is not an X receiver. And sometimes by the nature of having to be unpredictable and having to move things or pieces around, you guys will, somebody will play the X spot at some point. Like Ricky Pearsall had, I think it was like 20% of his snaps at X last year from moving around. He's going to be in that position every once in a while. But the hard thing is when you get this look, you pretty much have to write Deebo off. Like he is pretty much a non-factor, because against press bump, when guys can get their hands on him, he just cannot separate. I mean, this is, if they try and make this throw, it's picked. It's batted down. Like there is just no separation. That has been the story on Deebo for a while. Here he's on the line again as an X receiver. Your Z's on the other side. So he's on the line. He's against press bump. He's going to have to, he's trying to run a slant route here. Just no separation. It's weird with Deebo because it's not a speed thing, especially, and it's not a strength thing when he's playing, and guys can get their hands on him. I think it's a body mechanics thing that he can't really move while turning his shoulders. Like he can't run in a straight line while turning his shoulders. That's a challenge for offensive linemen when they fire off. Can you turn and push while still running in a straight line? I think it's a body mechanic issue for him, but he doesn't sell routes a lot with anything below his shoulders. He can't get like the hip flexors are a little tight with Deebo. So his shimmies that he gives at the top of a route are just stiff. Feet go real wide. He can't move the body and really sell these in breakers. And he just runs these out breakers and guys jump the routes. I mean, this is for Jane Daniels. Thankfully, the quarter can't catch it, but I mean, that should be a pick. And those are dangerous throws coming back the other way that you have here. He's in the slot when guys can get their hands on him. He's trying to run a little choice out China is what this is called. Just no separation. And we've seen that with Deebo too many times, right? Like these little quick passes, guys a quarterback will try and hit him coming out of the break, and he's completely covered. Again, he doesn't have a real good ability to sell those. Here he's going to come down the seam. This guy gets his hands on him, and I think it's a body mechanics issue. Like I said, he's too fast, too strong for this really to seem like it's an issue, but it does. Whenever guys get their hands on him, routes just done. It's like you can get your hands on Deebo 9 times out of 10. He's not going to make the play here. He's running a play we run a lot. It's an arches concept. So you get an eliminator route and then an arches route. And same thing, like the hip flexors, watch the hip flexors in here. They're just a little tight, not really able to get a good sell on that. Guys all over it. So, and that's the primary read on that play, is that route. Here on the outside again against press, he's on the line. He's running a slant, just no separation. That's just, I mean, that's Deebo here, and I think he's in the slot. Let me check my notes. Yeah, okay. So he's going to run an under route here. So this is an under. This is, it's plays like this you'd see every once in a while. You go, I don't know if the explosion is quite there like it was in the past. So I think past Deebo takes this maybe for a touchdown. Like, you catch this, I mean, the safety's coming down. Most like this reminds me of Eagles 2023. Okay, the Eagles came with heavy pressure. We ran Deebo on an under route. He caught it, broke one arm tackle, and went to the end zone and was gone. I mean, just flew out of there. This, and you know he was mad that he didn't break that, because he knew if he could break that, it was a touchdown. I just wonder, did he lose a step on the explosion? I mean, it's also a good tackle. I'll give him that, but it just makes me wonder. Adam got quiet. Oh, nope, your mic's not working.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there it is. Nope, you're back out.
Come on, stupid.
Well, he's in and out. We're hearing a lot of crackling. Poor Adam. He's dealing with the mic issues. Keep tapping, Adam. We'll see. Tap on your mic. We got nothing there.
Hello.
Hey, you're back. Okay.
Am I back?
Yeah, we need to send Adam a new mic cable. But what do we have with the good parts of Deebo? And the best that Deebo is catch and run Deebo. Now, this is against the Seahawks. We're going to see the same thing here, under route. Now this gives me more hope, and I say, okay, he can still catch and run. He can still go through some arm tackles. He still has that explosion to turn a 5-yard pass into a 15-yard pass. And we need that against these guys, because these guys are going to give you that, right? So they love to do this play. It's almost like a new version of Tampa 2, where they're gonna keep this out. The difference in what the Seahawks have done is, old Tampa 2, this between the hashes was kind of your weak soft spot that teams had to attack, because what they would have is that they had Derek Brooks on the weak side, who would come back and he would clean up everything over the middle in there. Now what the Seahawks have said is they're going to give you this area. That's kind of where they tend to give you. So, and you've got to get to it from the strong side. So if you can get a guy who can run through here, catch a ball in that area, and make more yards after that, that's a big time advantage against their team. The Rams had Puka Nacua that could do that. And they've had Kyron Williams who could do that, and they've had Devontae Adams who could, like, they've had different guys who could do that. When we faced them the last 2 weeks, George Kittle was really banged up. And Ricky Pearsall was really banged up. So we had like Juwan Jennings trying to run this, and he would get no yards after catch on these. So you have to be able to have somebody who can hit these throw catches, go run away from your linebacker, go run through an arm tackle, and go get 15, 20 yards on a 5-yard throw. We need it to be easier against the Seahawks. They love to take away the tier 3, tier 2 throws, the deep and intermediate. They'll give you a certain area on the underneath. You've got to be able to get more than 3 or 4 yards on those. You just have to, because they're so physical at the line of scrimmage. If you get into 3rd and 2nd and try and run it on them, it's going to be a real tough day. A really tough day. And then their corners are so big and strong that if you get in 3rd and 2, they are not afraid to come up and press on you, bring a lot of pressure, and force that ball out quick to their corners who've got length and ferocity. That is, like, you go back to last year, the last 2 games, we really struggled on 3rd and short, 4th and short against them. So that's a huge thing there to be able to get those kind of gains. Then it starts to crack the nut that is the Seahawks defense. And again, the Rams were able to do that last year because they had guys who could make plays from those underneath. So that's where Deebo becomes okay. I see Deebo, we could really use you here. They're going to bring him in motion. And then this is what we've done with him over the years. These bubble screens, he'll get out here, make a catch, and go get 7-8 yards.
Yeah.
Like make it easy for your offense to get 6, 7, 8, 9 yards and take some pressure off Christian McCaffrey, that you can attack different areas of the field and start loosening up these defenses. Here, another tunnel screen, something we've seen so many times. Man, get him through here, physical, get yards after contact, 2 yards after contact. Like, we weren't throwing those with Ricky Pearsall. I love Ricky Pearsall, but you weren't throwing a tunnel screen with Ricky. No. You were afraid the dude was going to get blown up and it was going to end up really bad. And then this is the stuff that we really miss. You bring a little motion across, you hand it off and let him go do what he can do.
Man, that's some good.
Oh, man. Too. Run through the arm tackle, run through the other arm tackle, and go get a touchdown. That looks like Deebo of 2023, right? Like those are the things you miss, is being able to just do that and be able to go get a touchdown.
Sheesh.
So, I mean, Deebo can still do some of those things. Like here, they put him in can you still, just have the ball in his hands and let him go make plays? Here he is as a Wildcat quarterback. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but I mean, you think he stopped. Oh, he runs through there.
Yeah. Still gets a few yards.
I mean, the defensive lineman probably jumped off sides. He still runs through contact. He still runs hard.
A cutback, yeah. Still looking good.
Here he is in the backfield. They're going to run a little swing pass out here. And it's sometimes just like, it doesn't look like a lot, but it is. Okay, you get a guy up here. Can you break this tackle? Because that's for no gain, or do you get 7 yards?
Yep.
Like, that is a difference that we did not have last year. None of our receivers, it felt like, ever broke tackles. Like, nobody was breaking tackles.
Yeah.
They either had to catch it on the run with a clear lane, or they were getting nothing. The only guy who was breaking tackles last year was Christian McCaffrey. We just simply did not have enough dynamism, whatever.
Dynamic.
We weren't dynamic enough at wide receiver and making plays in that you could get an athlete in space, they could break a tackle and turn a 7-yard play into a 20-yard play. We just did not have enough guys who could do that last year. Now you get a guy who can at least break a tackle. He can get more yards than the play is going to get. I mean, watch the way he finishes this play. This was a nice schemed up play against Jesse Minter's defense, but watch the physicality to finish this play. Oh, love it. Get another 2 yards, run somebody over. Come on. Like, that's what we've been missing, a physicality to our team, especially from our wide receiver core the last couple of years. And this is it. Again, just get him in there, get the ball in his hands and let him go, break arm tackles, get more yards after the arm tackle. Like, an arm tackle itself isn't going to bring him down on the spot. Here, you're going to get another little bubble screen. Can you do these things? Just say, okay, little bubble screen out here. Man, go. Bounce off guys. Get more yards. 5, 6 yards. Like, those sorts of things make a huge difference for your offense, because you're getting more first downs. You're making first downs easier. You're making everything easier. 3, 4 yards more per play on some of these is the difference between you scoring 6 points in a game and 27 points in a game. It actually makes a huge difference. We didn't have anybody who could do that. We're not asking Deebo to be 2021 Deebo, where he pretty much puts the team on his back for half the season. We're asking him to be better than Kendrick Bourne, better than Juwan Jennings as far as the catch and run. Can you do that? And I think better than DeMarcus Robinson. And if you do in that situation, I think, yes, Deebo does make this team better. So while we can say, Deebo, the frustrations of 2023, yeah, But this is a better team right now with Deebo than without, because are you going to expect this kind of play from Jacob Cowing? No. I'm not running a tunnel screen with Jacob Cowing. Jacob Cowing is a deep threat. Like, he's a receiver. He's a smaller receiver. Am I throwing a tunnel screen with I'm just totally blanking on his name. Jordan Watkins. I kept wanting to say Ricky Jordan, and I was like, nope, that's not it. Jordan Watkins. Are you running a tunnel screen with Jordan Watkins? No. You might do it with Dejon Stribling, but he's also a rookie. So you got to be careful. Are you running it with Demarcus Robinson? No. Like, there's just Deebo allows you to have something in your offense that you didn't have before. The thing with Ricky was that Ricky brought more from a route running perspective. So it balanced out, right? So Ricky couldn't do some of the ball with, break tackles, kind of physicality, but he was such a better route runner that you had more options with him. With Deebo, you're not getting the route running, but man, when you can get the ball in his hands, you can get some extra yards there. And the fact is, we're not going to have Ricky this year. So at that point, is Deebo an upgrade over some of the guys you have on the team already, as far as he brings an element that they cannot do? Absolutely. And I'm not sold right now that Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing can do things that Deebo can't do, because we haven't seen it yet. They haven't been available. So anyways, yeah, Ricky Jordan does sound like a baller.
What is his best ability? His availability. So I think that's why Lisa may not be on board.
Yeah. And Deebo has been nicked up over time. I will say last year he was predominantly healthy.
He did miss some time. And he still missed time. He did. So
it was very, very little. So when you actually go back to Deebo's time last year, we think about it because we weren't following the Commanders as well, like that he just didn't didn't play as much. Last year, Deebo appeared in 16 of the 17 games. So he only missed one game. And now he didn't start every game because of certain personnel packages. So like when the Commanders would go 2 tight ends, he wasn't on the field generally. Yeah. So like that was the other part of it. But he was their number 1 receiver in targets, and he was their number 1 receiver in yards, and their number 1 receiver in touchdowns. So he led the team in that. Yes, it wasn't the total performance wasn't as high as we would normally expect, but also some of that was a function of that their offense was like 27th in the league. Like they were not a good offense last year in general.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of the thing of why thank you, Lisa, for the super chat. And then Caymans, we're back on this every week with Caymans. Here we go. As if, here's what's funny to me, as if Johnny doesn't give us his real thoughts on injuries. Really, Caymans? That's all he does. That's all Johnny does every week.
I will say this is a little bit different than some of the other talk, because I'm not gonna really get it. Won't be okay. He's talking about like the minor stuff here. Like, so he's saying, what are your real thoughts on the injuries? I feel like if folks have a paper cut, they're getting held out. I don't think it's bad. Am I crazy? Well, you are crazy.
Well, yes, you are crazy.
That's for a different reason. I will say we appreciate Cayman's Island for all the support. Go follow his YouTube channel.
Of course.
It's on the icon. Click on it. He's got some great stuff. I watch his shows. I watch every one of his shows. I like him. I'm subscribed. You should do the same. But I think you are a little crazy. And here's why on this is because the number 1 predictor above everything, and this is very clear from the literature, is that the number 1 predictor of injury in the NFL is excessive load, meaning being overused or being having too many reps and too much load on reps for players. This is why we see clusters of injuries in position groups. So when there's 2 injuries that hit a position group, or there's a couple of guys that are already, working their way back, like Nick Bosa and Micah Williams, that suddenly that puts more load on your defensive ends, and the injury rate of your defensive ends starts increasing. So you get one guy hurt in there, suddenly your depth as far as camp bodies becomes less. And now you have to, because remember, you're also trying to have this like good competition to build each other up. So you don't want just a bunch of guys who are going to be working at Lowe's in 2 weeks and probably wouldn't be invited to anybody else's camp in there. You need still some sort of good competition to make your team better. And so they're wanting to give good on good reps. You don't want like Colton McKivitz practicing against a guy who will never be invited to an NFL camp again. Like, that's not going to make Colton McKivitz better. That's not going to make Connor Colby better. That's not going to make Dominic Pooney better. That's just going to be, okay, you should be dominating these guys. That's going to make it real hard to evaluate your linebackers. So you're wanting to give your better players some more reps in there. You wanted to give a Sam Okuanu more reps, but now his load has increased. And so Sam Okuanu rolls an ankle, and you have Mikael Kamara tears an ACL, and now you start clustering injuries. You have other guys like they went down to Kevin Givens was playing defensive end at one point, because you start clustering injuries in a position group as the load increases. Same thing has happened with wide receivers. You have wide receivers. Oh, Mike Evans. Well, there's a minor quad strain. We got to hold him out as precaution. Dejon Stribling has tightness in the hamstring. We got to hold him out as precaution. Now you have more load on your other guys, and receivers are running more and more and more, and they're faced with two choices here. Either you shut down practice early and you don't get through everything you have because your GPS trackers start saying, okay, we're hitting a critical point on our wide receivers. They're running too far on the day, because they do track how far these guys run. At least they should be. And you start seeing that they're getting to that critical point. Well, you either have to shut down practice, cancel a practice, or you say, well, we got to risk it for the biscuit on this, so we're going to do that. And then suddenly a guy pulls a calf. And we've got Christian Kirk that's out, Mike Evans, Dejon Stribling. Like, you start clustering those things. Jacob Cowing has gotten hurt again. So, yes, I understand the idea of, well, these are all relatively minor. There's still issues, and they have downstream effects. It's not, well, we don't need to worry because Mike Evans will be fine. Yeah, but we really need Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins to get a quality camp, because we've seen, especially like last year with Jordan Watkins, well, he didn't get get the ability to prove it in camp that he was better than the other guys. That was straight out of Kyle Shanahan's mouth. If those guys cannot prove in camp that they are better than DeMarcus Robinson, they will not get playing time over him during the regular season unless DeMarcus Robinson gets hurt. Like, this is not a positive. Like, I know we a lot of times try and get through like training camp. Oh, it's just training camp. Guys will still be ready for the regular season, and coaches still say that, well, those should be fine. But then after 10 weeks, when they haven't been seeing the field, they haven't been getting playing time, then Kyle Shanahan comes out and he says, well, they missed those opportunities in camp to show that they were better than the guys in front of them. And that's where they are, and that's why they're not getting playing time, because you don't have a chance for competition during the week, during the season. So this really is the most crucial time for these second and third tier guys on your team to move up the depth charts, to get the points, to get the confidence of the coaching staff that they can get on the field. And you don't ever want to sit here and say Jordan Watkins could be really good. We don't know.
How long have we been saying that about Jacob Cowing? How long?
Right. So that's
really good.
That's my concern with these things. And so, yes, even though they're minor and we're saying, well, these aren't a big deal, it'll be fine. Yeah. They're still not there, and it's still frustrating, and it still does have downstream effects. So I still have a high concern about these things.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, I guess, too. I'm glad that they're minor, but we'll see how it shakes out in the next couple weeks when preseason games get rolling as well. All right, are we at tier 2 or I don't know, not tiers, but
I've been saying the word tier a lot this episode, probably more than I ever have in any other episode.
So it's in my brain now. But the second, the first one is Deebo can still run, Then it was Deebo.
Frustrating Deebo. Then it was catch and run Deebo.
Catch and run.
Yeah. I am excited for the catch and run Deebo. I think and it's hard because we've said
that'll
this,
never go away.
Like every time I'm like, Deebo looks like he's in the best shape of his life. Then it's like a week later, man, Deebo looks fat. Like people have been saying those things. I will say he looks slimmer
Tears for fears
than he has in a while. And so I think Deebo has more to prove this year than anything. I think Deebo with a positive chip on his shoulder, not bitter Deebo, is the best Deebo. Like, I think the last couple of years we've seen a little bit of a bitter, cranky Deebo, which is about like, man, people just don't appreciate it. Like, there's been a different chip on the shoulder, a chip of being underappreciated. I think Deebo this year has more of like, man, I got to still prove I can be a top guy in the NFL. And I think he's hungry to do that. Now, the difference between he's given some different comments over the last year about the differences in offenses. I think Deebo liked the approach of Cliff Kingsbury in the fact that Cliff was much more ready to manufacture stuff for Deebo than Kyle is. Kyle is very much like only if the look presents itself. Cliff was like, dude, we're going to get the ball in your hands and let you do some stuff. So that's another reason why his yards per reception went down, but his targets, he still had 99 targets last year, which is a lot of targets. But the challenge with Deebo will be, can he stay motivated? Can he stay locked in? He still doesn't run clearing routes with conviction. That was there on the Commanders film. I was like, okay, he's still kind of jogging after the first 10 yards on some of these corner routes. Okay, Deebo. That's never going to change at this point. Like, I'm not expecting a guy suddenly to become like go 8 years in the NFL or 8 seasons with like running lackluster clearing routes to suddenly like, I'm going to run every single one as hard as I can all the way. Nah, he was always like, I'm saving my best for when I get the ball in my hand in my hand. So yeah.
Hey, speaking of saving our best, we got to shout out Terry. Ordered
Terry
Dell t-shirts, sweatshirts, and bags. Yep, I have my bag and I use it. And when I was around a Niner fan, which again, it's a big deal in Indiana to be around a fellow Niner fan. So it was really cool to show him my bag, and he was like, "Oh, whoa." He was dumbfounded. Like, wait, what? How did you get that? It was really cool.
Yeah, huge thank you to all those who've ordered some of the merch. You can check it out. The link is in the description. We got the hats like this. We got the tumblers, the IXOXOSF tumbler. We got the catch shirt. We got the game-winning throw to John Taylor in the back of the end zone, Super Bowl 23 shirt. We've got them on hoodies. We've got this hat. I've got 2 other hats. My other hats at home. I still haven't ordered out of my hat. Gosh, I'm just remembering this. Oh man. We got to cover that up, get that glare off the camera. We've got the drawstring backpack. You got a gym bag if you want a gym bag. Got that one there. I don't have a Johnny Dell bobblehead. I haven't gone that far.
He needs a hat.
But they're great. One thing, I love the company we're going through because they've given me so many more options, and I've seen that you guys really like the other options. Because the Sprint Ride option shirt, and we've sold it in about every color that there is. So that's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
You're welcome.
We still don't have the turban. I'm sorry, Dr. Steve. Still no turban.
Wait, did he even ask? He didn't ask.
He said no.
Oh, no turban.
No turbans,
though.
Okay,
I see it. Yeah. No turban. Hey, I want to.
Not the water bottle. I don't have my water bottle with me, but
I want to. Yes, and that is a Funko. That is a Funko Pop. There's my Niner T-shirt. But I want to ask you because Callie asked, has Deebo's blocking gotten better? I wouldn't assume so.
It was pretty much what we saw in San Francisco. So yeah, here's the merch. We'll peruse this so you can see the different designs. But it was pretty much what we saw in San Francisco. Deebo's blocking. The thing about Deebo
If
is
he's
that,
fired up for a game, like the blocking that day should be good.
well, it was
I feel
never
like
horrible. And it wasn't from lack of
just
effort.
he
I will
wasn't
give him that. Like,
interested sometime, I
well,
feel
no,
like.
it wasn't even that he wasn't interested. He just was a little off. And I think it's stiff hip flexors. Like he has a hard time getting over there, flipping his hips and getting into a blocking position. And so he was just be a step late or a step out of this. And you could see he would get frustrated when he wasn't making his blocks. Like he was frustrated by it. It wasn't from lack of effort. There was just like body mechanics. He struggles with those things, just like he struggles getting through contact, getting out there, turning his body while running in the same direction. He struggles with those things. So there was always good effort, I felt like, with Deebo and his blocking. It was just an execution thing. Now again, compare it to Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne had like one really good block last year, but outside of that, I was all over that dude in the film and in our shows about how bad his blocking was. Dude just didn't bring enough rear end to the party in the blocking. Like he didn't have enough mass in the grass to make some of those blocks. So
The mashed and the potatoes.
so like Deebo can do better than Kendrick Bourne. All these things I come back to. Compare it not to Deebo of 2021 or of that we want him to be first team all pro, is can you be better than Kendrick Bourne last year? And I think he brings more because he's only like his contract is essentially Kendrick Bourne's contract with a higher ceiling for incentives. Like this is nearly an identical contract to what Kendrick Bourne got last year. It's $5 million with up to $2 million in incentives. Kendrick Bourne was $5 million. I think he had up to like $6 million in incentives, and he reached a couple of those incentives marks. So like that's the thing. Now the caveat here is that the difference between him and Ricky Pearsall and what you have is that now, because Deebo is absolutely not a player you can put at X receiver, the margin of error for Mike Evans staying healthy and just really purely beating man coverage, because I think we all go back to the Super Bowl and remember Deebo just like would not get open versus man coverage against the Chiefs. And you look at that, the Rams now have two of those corners from the Chiefs, that Chiefs team. You start thinking, okay, there's a lot on Mike Evans. There's a lot on George Kittle. There's a lot on Christian McCaffrey. We don't know when George Kittle is going to be available. There's a lot on Jacob Cowing, Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Watkins, Dejon Stribling to beat man coverage, because Deebo will not do that versus the Rams. Like that's the one challenge I look at against the Rams. I go, golly, you've got to really manufacture and manage Deebo in this game, because he's not really going to be a good option against the Rams if they're going to come out and play a lot of man coverage against you. So like that's the thing. And if Mike Evans goes down, golly, you're like, our margin has gotten a lot thinner. That's my biggest concern. And being of the injury history of this team, that should be a genuine concern for people.
So, as we look towards our first preseason game and just training
Let's
camp
go.
continuing, like
I'm so ready for real football.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for real
last
football.
night, I gotta say, last night was, just as a fan of the foosball, because it's not from the devil, it really was a good game. And I'm not even talking about, I'm sure you could just pull up Sports Center and watch the final play. That, okay, yeah, it was exciting, but it was a good football game. It was awesome. Obviously, I wanted to catch because I wanted to see whenever they were going to talk about Roger Craig. They didn't do it enough, in my humble opinion, but compared to what they did, Luke Kuechly and other guys. But that, I was just glad that football was on. I don't hate Chris Collinsworth the way that 99% of football fans do. So I was into
no.
it.
It's not even 99.9% of football fans. It's 99.9% of 49ers fans, because Chris Collinsworth for like 2 decades hated the 49ers, and it's because of the shirt that I have selling on the website, which is they lost to the Bengals in Super Bowl 23. And he has always held a grudge against the 49ers for that.
Which I get. Look, I kind of respect him for that, honestly. I would do the same thing. If I played for, the whoever, if I played for the Bears and we lost in that fog game to the Niners or something or whatever, I would hate the team too. So
Well, I
I
mean,
get it, but
we've hated the Seahawks
whatever.
forever because of the 2013 NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be real.
that's fair.
Like we didn't like them, period, but that made it even worse. The Rams have hated us forever because we perennially beat the crap out of them forever. But I will say Roger Craig, I mean, that was long overdue. I've
Oh my
talked about it.
gosh.
We've spent an episode talking about it. Like Roger
Before he made it.
changed the way that football was played because he added a fourth eligible that was truly an option.
Yep.
Like just teams did, like it changed the way that before you used to have what was called pick a side concepts. So it was mirrored concepts. You would have the same exact passing. It was a 2-man passing concept a lot of times, or maybe a 3-man, but it was like 2-man, 2-man, stick concept, double sticks. It would be, and they're called pick a side, PAS reads, which was based upon a movement of a certain player, whether it would be, the mic or the free safety, which way they would shade to, you would then pick the other side, read that side out. When Roger Craig came in, suddenly you had, because he was such a good route runner, he's so good out of the backfield, that I can give my quarterback two options. It's not pick a side. I can give him a cover 3 beater over here and I can give him a cover 2 beater over here. So we don't have to audible the play at the line of scrimmage. We have it built in already. And that's where Roger Craig changed the game. And I think because the Hall of Fame voters, because it's media who do not truly understand a lot of the X's and O's of football and the scheme and strategy of football, there have been players and coaches in the NFL for decades who have said Roger Craig should be in the NFL, but they didn't understand why. They just looked at, was a guy the most dominant player in his era? Was he, how does he go about the history game? But they don't understand the development of the scheme and history of the game. This is absolutely why, like, Dom Capers should be in the Hall of Fame, but they will never put him in there because he doesn't have the head coaching credentials behind him. But Dom Capers changed the way that football was played. Like the idea of zone blitzes didn't exist before that. Vic Fangio, when his time is said and done, should be in the Hall of Fame. He's had some of the most prominent influence on defensive football of any coach that has ever played, but he will never make the Hall of Fame. And I think these are truly, wrongs that they haven't figured out how to right in this whole process. I will say the Luke Kuechly getting in, it makes me a little more frustrated that Patrick Willis didn't get in sooner. Because the argument against Pat always getting in was always he didn't play long enough.
Yeah, and Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly and Patrick Willis played the same amount of seasons. Luke Kuechly in his career, when you include playoffs, played 8 more games than Patrick Willis. That is it. It was like 133 to 125.
Yeah, big deal
so,
at that point.
Yeah, at that point, it was less than 5%. So, or I think 6% more games. But whatever. Patrick Willis should have gotten in 5 years ago. So I'll just get that off my chest.
Yeah, it was good to see football. It was good. I gotta give a shout out to Mike B, who wore his shirt to a family pizza party, and he's never put so many napkins tucked down his neck to protect a shirt when eating. I gotta say that out loud. That was just hilarious to read. I love it. But it was good that football is back. The Hall of Fame game, I get, is a joke. They don't even have a defense installed. It's always crappy teams. On accident, the Panthers made the playoffs last year. That wasn't by design. They tripped into the playoffs. The Cardinals are bad. It was good football, though, I have to admit. And I'm not accustomed to that. Last year, I believe it was Bears and Bills, and it was not a good game. And this year, I actually watched all of the game, and I was like, "Hey, I'm watching football."
Well, that's
So it's
good for you.
back.
I watched the first half. Oh, you know, Hall
All
of
right,
Fame
that's
game.
pretty good.
I
That's
just can't
pretty
handle
good.
it after, because I mean, because you start out the game, it's the backups to the backups in, and by
Already
the
in the
end,
Hall of Fame
like,
game, already,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's like the back 20, the 70 to
But
90 on
hey,
the
Carson
roster
Beck is a
in the
known
second half,
guy.
but
Carson Beck is a known guy. There a
no,
lot of
yeah.
football
So I
people
watched
know.
Carson Beck.
Right, and he actually did some things. I'm like, "Okay, he's not the worst quarterback of all time."
I
I
mean,
said
yeah,
that,
like
like,
I was sitting there,
"Okay."
like, I mean, golly, a Georgia Bulldog, I'll be a little impressed. I mean, uh, so I mean, seems like getting out of Georgia was probably good for him.
When
So
you well,
I'm just giving
yeah,
some
you're
ribs
spark
to Cayman's
yeah,
Island.
we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing.
He
I will
loves his Georgia
say
Bulldogs.
when that Thursday rolls around in early August, when it is the Hall of Fame game, you just kind of know that the kids are getting ready to go back to school.
My
It's
kids go
gonna
back on Monday.
Yep, it's gonna start to get colder in a little
Oh,
bit,
thank goodness.
and football is back, and we're gonna go from 60 to 70 people watching the streams to well over 100. Like, it's just gonna be, once we get it more into the season, you know, Caymans, you wish you could unsubscribe. Shut your lips.
Wow,
Shut your
wow,
lips,
wow.
or your
Adam coming
fingers,
in hot.
or your fingers, I
Sheesh.
guess I should say. So, uh, yes, Corey Kiner. I met his parents in Nashville actually when I went to the Titans 49ers preseason game. I was just hanging out, and the Kiners were just outside, and they were wearing Niners gear, and it looked like professional gear. And I was like, "You're here for the game, obviously, but I'm just gonna ask, do you have a son on the team?" Like, and they're like, "Yeah," and they showed and stuff. It was pretty cool. We grabbed a beer and some barbecue, and yeah, it was fun. But football is definitely back. Cayman's Island is not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. We will be back on Monday unless Jesus
Yep,
takes the
we're gonna
wheel.
be looking forward to. We're supposed to have joint practices with the Titans.
Yeah,
I do wonder if some of the precaution with some of these guys has been like, we need to get as many guys healthy as we can for these joint practices.
for
Remember,
Robert Sala.
they had to cancel one of the joint practices last year because the team was so injured. Um, so they're gonna have that. We got preseason in on Thursday. I am so stinking stoked for preseason. I will say I need my guy Kalen Black to get back out there and practice. Haven't seen any updates on him. He had the abductor injury. I mean, absolutely wild. The kid was like perfectly healthy all throughout his college career, and then gets into training
Don't
camp with the 49ers. He's got an abductor
just
injury. Like,
yeah.
you got to be kidding me.
Don't get me started.
Um, so yeah. Um, I want to see that. I want to see Dejon Stribling out there. I want to see Grayson Halton out there. He got back into practice after the bone bruise. As you know, it's funny to me. I will say it's funny to me, and I'm like I feel like I was screaming into the void, because every report from all these beat reporters on our rookies are literally like, wow, really surprised. They're showing this, 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 this. And I'm like, yeah, those are the things I said when we went over the film. Like, if you watch their college film, this should not be a surprise to you. He's like, I
Told you
think
so.
it was Matt Barrows was like, Grayson Halton got out there in his first practice, and he was really surprising. Has had what stood out was his quick first step, strong hands, really quick off the snap. And I'm like, it was on the tape. It was on the college tape. Like, I don't do this full time, and I don't know. Anyways, I'm not trying to take shots. I just get frustrated by this stuff of like, yeah, like Dejon
Guys,
Stribling is out there, and they're like, man, he's
he's
got this huge catch radius. He's snagging balls at everywhere. I'm like, that was literally something we talked about. That was all over his film. I said he can make he's a strong hands catcher who can make tackles in any big catch radius. And then they're like, wow, he can really do that. I didn't realize he could. Well, it was, you just go back and watch his tape. Like, you
that's
all
all you
have
have
to
to
say
do.
they have better access than I do. So
Listen,
I don't know. I just get frustrated.
Johnny does not.
And I will say there was one. His name is similar to a trophy that they give out at the end of the year, but he was like, surprise, the 49ers played Jaden Duggar on the line in this practice. They might be able to do that. And Raheem Morris did this in the past, and he played this and that year. I'm like, I showed his tape because I specifically mentioned he played on the line his senior year. And I said, I see him as a guy they're going to play on the line and also drop into coverage. Like, this was all on tape. It was all there. So I feel like people are like, wow, no way. Well, yeah, we said this for a while. This is my frustration. Like, it's there. It's there. You just have to carve out some time to go do it. I carve out the time, and I don't even do this full time. I'm just saying. I'm getting a little cranky about these training camp reports because I feel like it's like you're acting like this is the first time anybody's ever seen this or pointed it out. And it's like, no, it's been there the whole time.
The whole time.
I'm trying not to say I told you so, but it's a little frustrating. I'm like, I want some new information. Like, yeah, it was all there. This
Glass
isn't
City,
new.
Ross City.
Same thing about Romello Height. They're like, wow, what really stands out is his quick first step. And I'm like,
yeah. Oh, that's the
yeah.
So Johnny does not
forgive them. They know better.
Johnny is not trying to take shots. He just does it naturally. He doesn't try. Just remember, guys.
I just get cranky sometimes.
Yeah, a little spicy, as me and Callie call it.
Yeah.
So no, we love it. That's why we're a part of this channel. We love it. This time when I say the phrase, Johnny, I'm gonna say it not to the faithful. I'm saying it to our team.
Yes. Yes.
Over the weekend, guys, the 49ers,
and
the
our
faithful
head coach.
The faithful, you do what you want, but the 49ers roster needs to
and our head coach stay safe.
Yes, and because we will catch you guys on Monday. We're excited, but to all 49ers fans, do whatever you want. Go camping, go do whatever you want. But to the 49er roster, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.